The Galactic Council's first impression of humanity had been, quite frankly, underwhelming. Ambassador Zexithara adjusted her crystalline appendages as she reviewed the preliminary reports from Earth. The newly discovered species called themselves humans, and by all measurable standards, they were remarkably unremarkable. Average physical strength, standard intelligence metrics, primitive technology barely capable of interstellar travel. Most concerning of all, they seem to possess an almost pathological aversion to violence. They have established what they call Geneva Conventions, she explained to the assembled delegates, her translator rendering her clicks and whistles into galactic standard. Detailed rules governing warfare. They have created laws for war itself. A ripple of amusement passed through the chamber. The Vorthak representative, a hulking creature with razor-sharp carapace, made a sound approximating laughter. Rules for war? How delightfully primitive. Do they also have rules for breathing? The human delegation sat quietly at their assigned table, led by their ambassador Dr. Sarah Chen, and flanked by what humans called a military attaché, Staff Sergeant Marcus Rodriguez, United States Marine Corps. The Marine sat ramrod straight, his dress uniform immaculate, eyes forward, saying nothing. These Geneva Conventions prohibit targeting civilians, mandate care for prisoners, restrict certain weapons. Ambassador Chen explained patiently. We consider adherence to these principles a mark of civilized warfare. The Kethlak war chief, whose species had conquered 17 star systems through sheer brutality, sneered. Civilized warfare? What contradiction is this? War is the absence of civilization. The strong devour the weak. This is natural law. Dr. Chen's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. Sergeant Rodriguez remained motionless, though something flickered behind his eyes. Perhaps, interjected the Zephyrian delegate, this explains why humans remain confined to a single star system. Such restraints would certainly limit military effectiveness. The chamber erupted in chittering, clicking, and various alien approximations of laughter. Ambassador Zexithara raised an appendage for silence. While we appreciate humanity's unique approach to warfare, the Council must consider practical matters. The Void Swarm has consumed 3 outer rim systems. We need warrior species, not philosophers. Dr. Chen stood slowly. With respect, you misunderstand what our conventions represent. Please, Zexithara gestured magnanimously. Enlighten us. Chen turned to Rodriguez. Sergeant, would you explain to the Council what we mean by war crimes and why we prohibit them? For the first time, Rodriguez spoke. His voice was quiet, measured, and somehow more unsettling than any roar. Ma'am, war crimes are violations of the laws of war that we've established. They include targeting civilians, torture, execution of prisoners, use of certain weapons, and other acts we consider atrocities. The Vorthak delegate laughed again. See? They have made themselves weak by outlawing effective tactics. Rodriguez's gaze shifted to the alien. Still quiet, still measured. Sir, with respect, you misunderstand. We didn't outlaw these things because we couldn't do them. We outlawed them because we could do them too well. The laughter died. Every one of those conventions exists because at some point in our history, humans did something so horrific, so effective, so absolutely devastating that we frightened ourselves. We didn't ban chemical weapons because they don't work. We banned them because they work too well. We watched our own people die choking on their own blood, and decided that some victories aren't worth winning. Rodriguez stood, and despite being smaller than most aliens in the room, something about his presence made several delegates unconsciously lean back. We don't torture prisoners because it's ineffective. We torture them because humans are exceptionally good at breaking other thinking beings. We've had thousands of years to perfect techniques that can shatter minds while keeping bodies alive. We banned it because we terrified ourselves with how easily we could unmake someone's sanity. The chamber had gone completely silent. We don't target civilians because we can't. We target them because human history is littered with cities full of non-combatants that simply disappeared. Entire populations. Men, women, children erased so thoroughly that we had to invent a word for it. Genocide. Ambassador Zexithara's crystalline structure had dimmed noticeably. You want to know about human warfare? Rodriguez continued. We split atoms to create weapons that can end civilizations. We invented biological agents that could kill every living thing on a planet. We've created machines capable of thinking for themselves and designed them for one purpose: ending life more efficiently. He walked slowly around the chamber as he spoke, his dress shoes clicking against the polished floor. Our primitive ancestors conquered every environment on our world. Deserts, frozen wastelands, jungles, mountains. We didn't just survive, we thrived. We took a planet that was actively trying to kill us and made it kneel. The Kethlak war chief, who had seemed so imposing before, was now conspicuously silent. And when we ran out of enemies on our own world, we started fighting each other. For resources, for ideology, for religion, for territory. Sometimes just to see who was stronger. We fought wars that consumed millions of lives over decades. We kept detailed records of our kills. We celebrated our most effective killers as heroes. Rodriguez stopped walking and faced the assembly. So when you see our Geneva Conventions, don't see weakness. See a species that became so efficient at warfare, so capable of destruction, that we had to create rules to keep ourselves from accidentally exterminating everything we touched. He returned to his seat, sitting down with the same mechanical precision as before. The void swarm you're so worried about? They consume worlds by overwhelming them with numbers, yes? They don't innovate, they don't adapt, they just reproduce and devour. Dr. Chen stood again. Sergeant Rodriguez has never seen combat with an alien species. None of our military has. But every tactical manual, every strategic doctrine, every weapon system we've developed, it was all designed to fight other humans. Beings just as intelligent, just as adaptable, just as ruthless as we are. She paused, letting that sink in. We've spent our entire existence fighting the most dangerous predators we've ever encountered, ourselves. And we've gotten very, very good at it. The silence stretched for long moments before Ambassador Zexithera finally spoke, her voice much smaller than before. The Council may have underestimated humanity's potential military contribution. Dr. Chen smiled, and something about it made several delegates shiver. Don't worry, she said pleasantly. We'll follow our conventions. After all, we're civilized. Sergeant Rodriguez said nothing, but his slight nod somehow felt like a promise. And perhaps the Council realized too late. That was the most terrifying thing of all.